Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ ọ́ làmọ̀ dódódódó. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ ọ́ làmọ̀ dódódódó. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. Good evening to you from wherever you are joining me. So this one is the Maiyegun General Live Media Charts. So I'm going to be reading the comments, right? Reacting to your comments as well. Do you see the person that is my, what do you call it? My green screen behind? That's a call. So thank you so much for joining me. Remember, let me share this. I wasn't really ready to go on tonight. Let me know how that looks. So thank you for joining me. Akpabiole's new Electoral Act is said that it's been, sorry about that, African Rock Star TV. Okay, I'm going to check it. It's here. Does this even look alright? Thank you. I'll check it over. So the news is that Tinubu has now signed into law the new Amendment Act, the controversial one. So we can unofficially tell you to possibly not worry yourself about the 2027 elections. It is going to be a pure waste of time. And the rigging, right? It's like the rigging is done now before the first ballot is in fact casted. So yeah, the way we do it, in case if you are just joining us, all right? So the way we do it in this segment of Maiyegun's Diary Politico is that I can start the conversation, give it a title or something, but I'm expected to just read your comments, your questions, post them to me. And then, yeah, I will react to them. Yeah, it has to be like an interactive, sure you get. So, Akin, Olafioye, Baba, thank you very much. Yeah, Ramadan started now. I know, but you know, here in the UK, especially in Scotland, except you have, you know, people who are fasting around you, you barely know for days. So yeah, I got to know that this afternoon. Yesterday, I saw a few controversial kind of like announcements concerning when they are going to start the Ramadan. I didn't even know that it actually started today until in the afternoon. So Ramadan Kareem, Abi, Miyashikai. So to those of you who are possibly convinced, right, that the people can decide their leaders in an election, and there are those who will tell you that people don't decide their leaders in Nigeria's election like that. All right. So when people argued that what was lacking is, you know, the existence of laws that were supposed to help conduct free and fair elections. So when people were, when the people campaigning for the mandatory electronic transmission of results, when they were all over the place, they were very clear why they wanted that. At the same time, people who wanted electronic transfer of results, right? They also know why those who opposed it, why they are opposing it. So in the long run, the Tinubu's side, they got what they want. And that is not a mandatory electronic transmission of results. What that does is that it gives rooms to loopholes, the usual loopholes in your elections. Do you get that now? So now that it has become law, every argument around, people actually supposed to be the most important factor in democracy. So after all that scream, after all that protest and the rest, they have their way. So what should everybody do now? To go back and then participate in the election that they have set the rules that obviously will continue to make your elections vulnerable. INEC officials are the ones who are going to decide whether election results should be electronically transmitted or manually transmitted. And you all know that given these two options, is intentional. So if they say electronically, that simply means you need internet, you need this or that. So in the absence of electronic, or in the absence of the internet, as they are claiming, then electoral officers can decide to manually process the election. And what manual does is that they will input figures, and figures changes from the from the polling unit to collation center, the local government or the state. You have no means of disputing that. That is the bone of contention. So going to spend billions of naira on an election that is completely going to be very flawed, right? So I have a theory about this their 2027 elections. So, or should I say, I have, it's a theory. Some will say it's an hypothesis. For mine, I would say it is a theory based on existential evidence, actions and inactions of these guys. To call 31 states, it doesn't need 31 states, okay, to declare himself for second time, like to declare himself the winner of 2027. And if some of you have studied in the recent time, studied the politics of Talon in Benin Republic, and what Tinubu is doing in Nigeria, maybe you'll probably be more, alerted than this. So let me give you this, my theory. With 31 states, okay, let's assume that people who don't want Tinubu, as some of you will say, right, don't want Tinubu anymore. In a free and fair election, they're not going to. Of course, there are people who don't want Tinubu. They will make you understand that. And there are people who want him. So if his own party controls 31 states out of 36 states in Nigeria, controls almost 90% of the National Assembly, share you get. So what is going to be wrong if at the end of the day, some of those states were lost or declared for the opposition? So would you say it is so hard for him to have 31 governors, all these senators and reps and House of Assembly, all of these local government areas and all of them working for him, and he will not be able to get 24 states? Now that the Supreme Court ruled in 2023 that, and Abuja is not, that Abuja is supreme or superior to others. So they ruled Abuja as a state. And with what was available, the figure, your Supreme Court of Bandit said, Kolu will still have to be, Kolu will still win, with or without Abuja. So they removed that part of the constitution deliberately. So that gives Tinubu the leverage that they have perfected. He doesn't even have to win Abuja. But here is his own plan. And like I said, I'm just going to give you theory so you can work with it too. Nigeria currently have 6 geopolitical zones. Okay. Southwest, southeast, south, even though that is, anyway. Then you have northeast, northwest, north central. You see, 3 is up north and 3 is down south. The way they have structured Nigeria is to make you believe that there are more people up north than south. So therefore, where Tinubu's 31 states are spread all across these geopolitical zones. Okay? So I'll give an instance again. Let's say Kano and Kwakwansop, they are in Kano. And in your by 2027, let's just say the real contest is between ADC and APC. Some will be like, he should be able to win Kano, but they say, no, Kwakwansop is not going to let him win Kano. Okay, what is the plan then? The plan is to make sure that, as popular as they claim that Kwakwanso is, if he's part of the opposition, then where you are expecting Kano to deliver maybe 2 million votes to opposition. I'm just giving you numbers, random numbers. 2 million to opposition. So Tinubu and his gang's plan is to make sure that that number never goes to the opposition in Kano, even if opposition wins Kano. So what is the plan? Rather than get 2.5 million total votes casted in Kano, they will tell you that the opposition scored maybe 800,000, which is going to still give you the kind of like a close to idea of, that's substantial. So Tinubu lost Kano. To what? Then they will record for what is 25% of 800,000. So they work it out, say, okay, 200,000, Abi. Make it 206,000, sorry, 215,000 for Tinubu. Do you get that? And so we say, okay, that is a wide margin. Over 500,000 is what opposition used to lead Tinubu in Kano. So everybody will be like, okay, let's go and check other places. So when you now go to a place like Ondo, okay, which is APC, then you realize that by the time they announce the result from Ondo, they can say Tinubu scored 1.6 million in Ondo. What did the opposition score in Ondo? They scored 130,000. So you see that 500 and something thousand from Kano can be cancelled in Ondo. Those are the surprises you are going to see in 2027. So it's not the opposition won't be declared winners of some places. Just go and look at the numbers, check the numbers. So that is why the idea of everybody coming to join APC, everybody coming to join me, it is not to do a one-party state in that sense. It is Tinubu's crooked way, as they say, is political strategist. Even though people wishes that if he is this politically sagacious, like so brilliant, why can't he actually apply that to governance too? I mean, you wanted the power, you have it. Then apply that your political maneuvering and whatever, right? Apply that to governance. So this is how you're going to see it all spread out. So if, for instance, Peter Obi is the candidate of the opposition, where they expected at least 80% sort of like a vote from the eastern part of Nigeria to be delivered to him, they will still give him the 80%. I'm sorry, they will alter the 80%. Here is what they will do. You realize that if, for example, Anambra State, where Peter Obi comes from, they won't pick it. They may not even touch it. With all these Soludos, whatever, right? They won't even touch Anambra. What they will do is that you will just see that Peter Obi scored 300,000 in Anambra, and Kolu scored maybe 40,000. It won't get the 25% there. It doesn't need the 25% per se. Okay, just to make it look normal. But you just see that in Anambra, where Obi comes from, maybe let's say they have 1 million registered voters, right? And then there is a huge turnout and all that, but they will cut it down. They will do everything to make sure that they do put voter party to cut that turnout, then alter the whole figure in a way that Tinubu won't win it per se, but he won't really lose it. He won't lose in the eastern part of Nigeria. What he's going to do is to make sure that whatever numbers that Obi is going to gather there is substantially reduced to make it very much ineffective. So that they can tell you that eastern part of Nigeria is just the size of local government in Sokoto, something they will usually say, right? So this is what I think they are going to do. Scientific rigging. Okay? And so when they go to Lagos, you just see that suddenly the votes in Lagos is different this time around. They may say, okay, Lagos State just delivered 1.3 million to APC, Tinubu. Say, wow, really? In this same Lagos? What did the opposition score there? The opposition scored 230,000 votes. So far off that it's going to be insignificant. That's how they're going to doctor it all over the country. That even the people in these states, where the governors know that they have failed their people, right? The governors, I'm sorry, the people are going to see the obvious manipulation. Around that time, they will start telling you to go to court again. And this is where the opposition comes in. I have heard Obi, Atiku, and the rest of the Amechi, El-Rufai, Tambua, Aregbe. I've heard all of them said they are not going to go to court in 2027. Everything will be settled that same day. So how are they going to do it? The resources. Do you also know that this new Electoral Act signed by Kolu is also going to affect INEC's preparation for the election? Timing and the rest of that has been muddled up. You are going to know more about that in the coming days as well. That's when people will begin to tell you what they now see that will happen in 2027. Like, be very much like truthful to it. So I used the Kolu as my green back screen. Let me try and get something else, Akwabiole. Unfortunately, that one is too big. So you're likely not going to see it. Just pardon me, right? I'm trying to do most of this stuff suggested by the YouTube. So checking them out. Sorry, guys. So here, it doesn't matter. So I'll leave it at that. Meanwhile, like I said, I'm expected to read your comments and react accordingly. Okay. So let's see what we have here. Unlechita, Baba, I see you this evening. How are you doing, Agu Owuka. I'm very well, thank you. How you doing? So yeah, I'm expected to. Irok is here. I can see him now. Who else is here? Dr. Asholu. How are you? Chinedu Okorie, Adekugbe Francis, and the rest of you. Even my old man, Jima Gudu, is here. So yeah, I have opened the conversation, and indeed, I can probably read your own version of, the event. So what's going on Friday? Abidemi, God's will. What's going on Friday? Bless you, Greg. Gregors. How are you, Baba? See, I'm trying to take off this background and see if I can. Yeah. So I've been trying to get that off since I didn't really have anything behind to put up, or kind of like prepared for it anyway. So wasn't. So help me like the broadcast, like it and share it as well, as long as you're here. So, and then yeah, I am reading your comments. Bless you, Collins. That's my guy from Netherlands. Thank you. So, who else? Omo Losho, Babatunde. How are you, Baba? Bless you. Now let's take one. Somebody just dropped one down. We've got Patrick here. Patrick Kumba or Patrick Kumba. Yeah, hello Maiyegun. Why is Tinubu? Why is that Tinubu quickly signed the Electoral Act into law, since he's the master of strategy and he's been in the race to be president since over 30 years, according to those useless followers. But that your question is a rhetorical question, no? Because we all know why. We are talking about power. It's just that these guys are not making use of the power to the benefit of the people the way it should be. Do you get me now? But they will do anything for power, everything. So he's in control now. The election is for him to lose. Do you understand? And he kept saying, or those around him kept saying that he is not Jonathan. He is never going to bow to any this hanky-panky. He will rig if he has to now. He will do it, and he will damn the consequences of those who are threatening fire and brimstone. So, because they know the Nigeria they have put together. Share you feel me now? So, Pulapenga, my guy. Oluwanishola Aro. Is that the right word? I mean, the right name. Thank you. So, yeah, they've got the money. They've got the central bank. Do you understand? These guys are going to spend, they're already doing okay. They are going to spend money because that is what they believe, right? Will make someone who is trying to make sense, or who is making sense to start making or talking nonsense. The situation in Nigeria about the poverty and all of that, right? The fear of poverty is even scarier than the poverty itself. It is the fear of poverty that makes these people to become these kind of monsters, selfish, greedy monsters, because they fear that the moment they are no longer in the position of power or money, they've got so much to lose, so much ground to lose, you know? So that's why they will do anything and everything to keep that power. But my own is that when they have the power, because they will still have everything they want to have, even when they do the good thing. So it's only when they choose to just be who they have always been, because no, don't do anything good. Emmanuel, do you think Tinubu will release Nnamdi Kanu before election because of what the traditional ruler said? Well, that plausible, right? It is plausible, but I don't think he is going to do it before the election, unfortunately. Yeah. However, if he does, that would be great. Because if I have to tell you why I don't think he's going to do it, is because Tinubu is desperate. People around him are very, very desperate for that 2027 that some of you even can understand. And I hope you do. So Northern Nigeria is posing this huge threat to their plan. And one of the, because I have seen that they have already started openly telling their people that Tinubu is anti-North. He hates the North. Yeah. So that narrative is what himself and others are probably doing their best to manage until after the election. So releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Because like I said, to these people, it is never about justice. It is never about law or what have you, right? No, it is about power. And yeah, they can, but I don't think he would do that. Okay, I don't think so. But I really wish he does, like 100%. Okay. So he's currently using the imprisonment of Nnamdi Kanu as a leverage. Do you understand? Like, he allowed Oloye Sunday Igboho to be back and move around and all of that stuff. But that is all he did for Igboho. Igboho's bank account, they remain frozen till tomorrow. What they only did is just to remove him from the wanted list that the Interpol had back then. That's what they've done for him. Okay? They still haven't really cleared him or in the way to, because the Fulani North, they are poking him and kind of like using that to blackmail him. You all know what Oloye Sunday Igboho was to them as well at the time and why they wanted him dead. So he's just, he's just like a freed man, but not really free man. Do you get that? Because the Fulani North, they are not comfortable that Igboho is free. The only reason why they are not so agitated is because you have not seen Igboho talk about the killings in Yoruba land anymore publicly. Do you get what I mean? He no longer talks about mobilizing and let us go after them because we have a Yoruba president now. He no longer does that. You know why? Because that is the only way Tinubu believes that he's in control of the situation. So adding Nnamdi Kanu to it, you know that I don't think Nnamdi Kanu can be told to not talk as a condition if he wants to go, because it's part of the condition they gave to him. Don't forget that. They were asking him to renounce Biafran agitation. He should say he won't do it again. If he agrees, they will tell Nnamdi Kanu to leave their prison tomorrow morning or this evening, this night. So Nnamdi Kanu is not somebody that you can say you make an arrangement with. Okay? He's not going to agree to it. And that's exactly what happened the last time. So this is so crucial for him that if they let Maazi leave today, tomorrow morning, we are going to see millions of people that are going to glue to their screen, like you are watching me right now, to hear his first broadcast. Do you think Nnamdi Kanu will broadcast and begin to tell you that, let's forget about? Do you think that's possible? Do you think Nnamdi Kanu is going to turn his camera on and be asking you to support APC and support Tinubu? Do you think that's possible? So these are the reasons why, if you look at all these factors and this political tension, Tinubu may look like he is in control. No, he is struggling to keep it together and to continue to keep this public appearance that they are in charge. There's a lot that could go wrong. A lot. That's my opinion. No, don't forget, that's just my own opinion. No, somebody else may see it so differently. Okay, but remember, we are all using the available information, publicly available information, to formulate this opinion. It is not just random. Okay. So here is Moonly. Is that the way I should call you? Moonly. Please, can't the Nigerian media transmit polling unit result live? Yes, they can. Okay, there are many ways that they could actually, that is what you then call the exit poll, which means if Nigeria media, listen to this, so if Nigeria media were to be up to standard, right, they would have reporters from every polling ward. Do you get that now? Every polling ward, because elections doesn't really actually finish at the same time everywhere. So polling ward means if you go to this political ward, there's likely going to be up to 10 polling units. That's where people goes to vote in that their own particular local government ward. So if the media covers that, they could give us something called the exit poll. That means when election is completed there and the result is there, ready, they will take their picture, the evidence, they will transmit to their studio. in their own studio, this information is coming from all over the country in that sense, right? So they will collate and begin to project or what do you call it? Give us the exit poll, like we always watch in the Western world. But they intentionally won't do that in Nigeria. Punch, AIT, channels, the rest of them, guess what? They are there to copy the election result people are posting on social media. Most of them they are reposting the information that people like myself put out there as election result. I barely do that anymore though, right? But when you have people, voters who are posting their own results, some will even take the picture of the result and post it online. That is illegal, they say, right? But media that are supposed to do it for us, they are on social media with us because they do not, I think, they do not have all the resources to cover election in that sense and report back to the country. There's a substantial part of Nigeria that they won't even send their reporters there at all. So you get the logistics to actually cover those areas in Nigeria. That will make them not even like interested. So therefore, everybody just say that rely on whatever INEC says is the result. So that answer your question. The reason why they won't do it, maybe logistics, resources, right? They are going to tell you that Nigeria is vast and to cover Nigeria elections. So therefore, they just choose different parts. Some of them will stay in the city, some will go to the suburb and all that. So exit poll, if the media does their job, like you watch on CNN, CNBC, BBC, Sky News, and all those ones all over the place, Al Jazeera, where you get to start hearing about the exit poll. That means they've collected enough from everywhere. In their studio, they already built an app where their reporters, once they send that information in, they will verify it, they will put it up. But that is not official result. But they will be telling you that with what they have right now on this screen, this is the report from Lagos, this is the report from Anambra, this is the report from Abia, or report from Sokoto. So you'll be following. So once they now tell you that with the information they have, as well as what the INEC have, right? It is very much so close with a margin of -2 plus 2. That means whatever they have, for example, let's say they say, oh, the exit poll currently shows that Party A has already scored over 800,000 votes. Party B, they've scored over 500,000 votes. And more than 80% of the votes has been counted. They have been verified, they are in. So with what is left and the vote available, Party A is going to win. So they won't say the Party A has won, no. They will just say, with these numbers and all of that we have, while we wait for official results, right? We can tell you Party A is definitely going to win Lagos. Party B is going to definitely win Plateau State until the final official figure. But Nigeria, everybody go, they drop different result, different one, fake one, original, everything all over the place, so messy. But guess what? Everybody is still going to have to wait for INEC. So INEC will now come. Everybody will now glue to their TV. INEC will now start calling electoral officers from different states who are traveling to Abuja to go and announce the result from their states. Some of them will not arrive Abuja until after maybe 4, 5, 6 hours when they have started announcing results. They will do all of this abracadabra back and forth. They will be reading figures on the screen on TV. Therefore, having satisfied the official section so of their constitution is hereby declared winner. So Eric, Ume, do you think that people will turn out to vote in the 2027 election? I don't think so. Let us be honest. I'm not saying people will want to be part of it, all right? Because that's what is going to give it validation. But huge turnout, no. Because they would have to convince the people, right, that their election will count, their votes will count. But with the present reality, anybody who gets sense will know that even if they use your mama or papa to tell you that you should trust the process, you should trust the system. You are just going to make yourself available to be used. Just take a look at the process of conducting the election. That's all you need to know. Everything else, if that one is so faulty, flawed, how are you sure that the implementation is, because even something that is a bit straightforward, there's never really anything so straightforward about these rules anyway. But if there's anything so near straightforward about what they are doing, right, you're going to know that they are still very much going to have this intentional, what do you call it? Intentional sabotage, I probably will call it that. So people won't go out, even though people won't come out as expected. Should everybody's complaining, everybody's lamenting. But by the time you get to 2027, they would have demoralized a lot of you. I'm not saying there won't still be people believing that it is still fight that must be fought and all that. But by the time you get to December 2026, they would have won out this supposed opposition, except something goes wrong in their permutation with what we have seen so far. So let's probably see if they will test their plan to test the will of the people, if it is going to be a success or not. So time will tell, right? Let me see another one. Right, Ade Williams. Lie to people. You and this your trouble, eh? So you can press, okay, lie to people. Say they do, and if they could press a reset button, activate. Wow. Anyway, thank you very much, Joseph. All right. Appreciate that. Yep. So did I miss anybody's own contribution, question, opinion? Is there any way to avert rigging? The number one way to avert rigging is for people to come out. You have to get people to come out. Do you understand? People barely come out for election because they don't really believe in the system. They don't believe in the process or anything, if we are being honest. Because how can you have nearly 100 million registered voters after voters registers verification, and then you conducted an election that was keenly contested, and the total votes cast in that election was less than 25 million for all the parties that participated? That is just 1/4 of your entire registered voters. That is not a pass. That's a fail. Do you get that now? What happened to the remaining 75 million? So that's what I mean. People need to be out. But for people to be out, the opposition must actually show that they are not the same, which is, unfortunately, they are. So they are not the same like the APC. They will be better, the blah, and people should buy it. So let's say they declare that they have 110 million voters in 2027, for example. And then people actually comes out if those 110 million exist, because most of the number, they are just ghost voters. Do you get me now? They don't exist. So let's now say out of 110 million voters, you are able to mobilize 70 million. They won't be able to rig successfully. You are going to alter the plan, because it simply means in this polling unit where you have 1,500 registered voters on the day of election, right? You have 1,400 of you there. Because no matter how pretentious they are with all these, their campaign crowds, their party members and all of those sellers, most of them are never real voters. But if you, a working class, a young person that registered to vote, who don't belong to any political party, just want to take a look at their candidate and then vote, Abby. If you have a turnout of 90% of registered voters, you have destroyed the plan to rig, because they can't buy all of you. Do you get me now? They can't pay 5,000 naira or 1,000 naira to all of you. No political party plans to do that ever. So they always bank on that. And that is why when they plan to pay people at every polling unit, right? Sometimes the planned payments may not be for more than maybe 300 people, 400 people. But when you take a look at their voters register in that unit, they may have up to 2,000 voters. So on the day of election, INEC will provide 2,000 ballot papers and give it to their officials. So when the parties that you want to vote for begin to share money, so at the end of the day, out of 2,000 registered voters, you only have 600 that came out. To you, that's a big turnout. But what happened to the remaining 1,400 voters? What happened to the remaining 1,400 ballot papers? That is where the thumb printing comes in, because they have to fill those papers. INEC has issued them. Corrupt election officials will now give this to the political party that is paying them in that particular zone. They will give them these speared original ballot papers. Then they will start thumb printing to fill the ballot paper. The ballot box. This is how rigging works. But if they issue 2,000 ballot papers and you have 1,980 voters to use, they can't give your ballot papers to another people who are, you get, no. They have to give it to you there. You make it difficult for the INEC officials to play their scam with the political parties. I'm giving you this not because I'm giving you solution to how not to rig in Nigeria. I'm just telling you the way they rig, how they rig, and why their rigging is always very much successful. It is not just writing numbers that are because in Nigeria, right, you are expected to go and examine every ballot paper used in the election. You can observe everything, every document used. So they don't go and burn the ballot papers after election. So they take them to INEC, store them, because they are evidence. If the thing enter court, they can say they should go and recount the ballot papers. But these days that they have captured the judiciary, they don't even let it get to that anymore. INEC will conduct election between Party A, Party B, Party C, Party D. When they rig for one and you go to court, instead of the party they declared winner to defend their victory, they don't have to defend anything. Now, the same INEC, who was supposed to be fair to you, provide the document they used in the election, INEC will now be the one defending what they have declared. And by law, they have every way of cutting everybody off, except if they really, really messed up. Like I said, they compromised their judiciary, has cemented some of the fraud. So that is why a lot of people believe that they will always rig and there's nothing anybody can do, even if you have the evidence. Now, here is another one. Cornelio, earlier, is it possible that North can unite and support Peter Obi? Could one say that Atiku is indirectly working for Tinubu? Speculations, okay? They are all the same, working for themselves. If you probably if you know their history, right? We call them the establishment for a reason, okay? But here is something I heard, or should I just answer your postulation, okay? And that is, do I think the North will support Peter Obi? 100%. You see all these tribal, ethnic, religious, all those things, they are all politics. Politics. Their supporters don't see it as politics in that sense, right? Because their religion, their tribe, their ethnic, this and that, okay? It is politics that makes it more like the Igbo man, he should be hated by others, or the Igbo man should not even trust any other part of Nigeria. It is that politics that makes it this strong. Do you know how crazy that country is? If the establishment, in this sense, which Tinubu is also up against, he himself is a member of the establishment, okay? So where they have to fight for power, if they all conclude that it is going to be Peter Obi the candidate, you are going to see the most extreme Islamic clerics in northern Nigeria tell people about Peter Obi that even the Igbos cannot say about him, you'll be surprised. They will open the doors of all their palaces, all their mosques, everywhere. They will change the narrative overnight, and a lot of you will begin to wonder what's going on. That is how the establishment works. So Tinubu is the one holding power now. He fought the establishment to get that. If all of us are very much can remember. So he fought them. They did all of that, but he built rings around them like that. By the time they realize what's going on, is your president. They can't reverse it anymore without causing constitutional crisis. And I actually feel like they settled for him because he's a member of the establishment. So let him be. But if they choose Peter Obi, and their 2027 is when they feel like they are going to get rid of Ekolu, you'll be surprised. You'll be wondering like what's going on. You'll begin to see all those sponsored, divisive handles on social media. They will change the narrative. They'll start praising him and begin to speak well of him. That means hand don't touch hand, and interest don't clash with interest. They have formed one. It is no longer about the yesterday. It is now about today and tomorrow. They will change it. So I don't doubt that, okay? I do not. Here. Uncle Maiyegun. Yeah, Biggie. Clean laundry. With the way Peter Obi is saying it will be at the ballot, does it seem like he's going to win primary? Now, here is another thing you need to know. There is likely not, what do you call it? There's like, with what Tinubu just signed, there will be no indirect primaries. It is going to be an expensive journey where the members of the ADC, members of APC, members of PDP, they are the ones that are going to vote for the aspirants. Aspirants with the highest number will be declared the candidates. So that is going to be so different from what you know. So right now, that Tinubu is the one setting the rule. He also said there is no consensus. Consensus is when all of them, Atiku, Obi, Amechi, who else? When all of them comes together and say, you know what, we are all going to back Peter Obi at the convention as the candidates. And they just tell their members and everybody to say, a voice vote to use support and vote for Peter Obi to be the candidate of the ADC in 2027. And they will just shout, yes. Now that has been removed from this new Electoral Act. And all of this, like I said, it is a technical way to neutralize the opposition before the first ballot is cast, right? So we just can't say how it's gonna go yet. Today is when Tinubu signed that bill to law. So we want to see how a lot of this same opposition are going to take it and then react. So that is when we are going to start projecting and put things together and begin to project what's going to likely happen. But yeah, Peter Obi is very close to the ballot than even Atiku. That's from what I have heard the last time. But 24 hours in their politics is a very much long time. You know that. So we just have to keep watching. Almost sharp, Anthony, you don't sign on. And right now, all those protests, all those complaints and the rest of that, they are all for nothing. Maybe not all for nothing, because the opposition said that they categorically rejected it, but those who wanted it insisted, and they've got it now. So what's going to happen to the opposition? Have the drive to force their hands? I don't know, but it's already law now, like the tax law. All those controversy around forged one, altered one, and all of that stuff. People talk about them. They still talk about them. I still talk about that. But guess what? He signed it into law, and they are implementing the one they want to implement. whether the forged one or whether the signed one, it doesn't matter. People remain confused. Which one? Ugo, Ebube. Thank you, Jare. No, you should check yours. My audio is very kind of like a sharp. I deliberately turn it up higher. So you may need to turn up your own device. Right? So, Monley, can Tinubu's result be brought up as pre-election action to disqualify Tinubu? I don't get that. Can his result, which of the results, the primaries or the election results, brought up as pre-election action? I am sorry, that didn't come out so well to me. Maybe you should rephrase it so then I can share my view on that. Yeah. Let's see. All right. So who is a biggie? Calling in is pretty much not because the phone is not connected to the audio mixer. But we can try it. Let me put it on. We can try it. And we're almost like probably like rounding off soon anyway. I'm supposed to do this briefly. Have these charts and okay, Osazua. I don't really think any external body can change anything that these guys have set their minds on. I don't think so. Not American embassy, not this, but at this point again, right? I don't think so as well. You know, there's always a time we need to keep reminding ourselves, okay? These people don't really give a damn about us in that sense. They are the same people. Nobody them came and said the 2023 elections, when they wrote their report, was rigged, fraudulent, violent, this and that. But guess what? They still congratulated Kolu. So that's why I'm not really going to bother about them writing all these guys. Donald Trump can't really force his hand as well. The only reason why Donald Trump can force the hand of Tinubu and his gang is if Tinubu denies American business interest in Nigeria in whatever form. That is when they will be interested in your political this and that. But if Tinubu gives them everything they want without asking questions in that sense, right? America is just going to say they want stability. So if Tinubu rigging is not, to remain in power is the stability they define as their stability. Millions of Nigerians are just going to keep screaming, America, come and see, they are killing us. We are protesting the rig election. They will do that for a few days. And Nigerians are tired, right? So tired, enough that the politicians know that you are tired. A lot of Nigerians are tired. They are tired of being shot at, tired of being killed with nobody being held responsible. I get it, but it's just that you can't be tired in that sense, So we should stop kind of looking forward to all this. We are calling America, we are tagging Donald Trump. No. If the shit hit fan, America will know. You there with me? If 1 million people occupies Rivers State, 2 million people occupy Lagos, 2 million people occupy Abuja, more than 3 to 4 million people takes over Kano. Sokoto is on a lockdown with more than 2 million people. All of them asking for the same thing. They are done with these people. All these manipulations, all this and that. Even the military will not be able to fire a shot. That is when America will know that, hey, in that sense, they will know the time of that government is up. Immediately, they will swing into action, start looking for another, maybe a figure that they can push and make him the face of the revolution. That's what they normally do. They just need somebody to be your representatives, and they can give them the international polish, international image, and the rest, because Nigeria is very strategic to America, and Nigeria must be stable and stabilized. It cannot go into any political chaos. You get me now? Or calling on them, where you have 200 people, 300 people shouting "Soli, Soli, Soli." No, that's never. They are seeing it, but that's not enough, in my own opinion. Oh dear. Sorry, I left my eating on, and my air warmer kind of makes me feel so warm, and I like it. Yeah. Right. So Munley, can Tinubu result be can Tinubu's results disqualify him if a candidate sue INEC for presenting fake results, because in 2023 they caught through that it was post-election? No, you can't. If I understand your question very well, that if they conduct this 2027 election with this new bill or new law, any result produced by that same law in 2027, maybe can it be presented to court as fake results? Yeah, if I get your, that's your question, okay? INEC is the only one that can tell you which result is fake or real, according to their law. You and I can say these figures are fake, but officially, INEC is the one who is allowed to present. And in their courts, INEC is not mandated to prove how they got the results. It is you, the litigator, that they will ask to come and prove that the result presented by INEC is not genuine. So you would have to, one, not say because this law is illegal, because if there is no court, for example, if the Supreme Court did not rule that this 2026 electoral law is illegal, if they conduct election with it in 2027, the way they have drafted it, whatever INEC announced is legal. It is what the court is going to take. It is what the court will take. Even if you bring evidence of all this rigging and the rest of that, there is always going to be technicality. So don't let us be naive. We know how this whole thing plays out. So we are talking about Nigeria court here. So whatever you take there, have you forgotten that Peter Obi was carrying boxes? What do you think were in those boxes? These were the election-related documents. You understand? Court-certified documents. They presented everything. You saw that. What did the Supreme Court say? Supreme Court says Peter Obi did not present any evidence that the election in 2023 was rigged. Have you not seen the judgment? They said they didn't present, opposition did not present a single evidence. Opposition is relying on hearsays. They are relying on speculations. One of the judges said opposition was expecting the court to help them fight their case. Go and listen to the judgment now. All those certificates and all of that, they came back and said those are pre-election something, and they cannot rule on them. Forged certificates, forged school certificates, forged this and that. Here you get is a case of heroin trafficking and all of that. Here you get court said they were pre-election or something, so they are not viable. Meanwhile, court was supposed to look into all of them. They choose not to. It's Nigeria. So you can't come back later and say you want to come and challenge them using the same faulty Electoral Act that you participated. You printed posters. Baba, they put your name inside ballot paper. People down voted. Is then you now feel like the result that election produced should be declared fake. I'm not a lawyer. You get me now? I'm not a lawyer. But I do have a little bit of understanding of, this law. You just need to read them. I don't think that's going to work. Right? Emeka, Egeonusa, you're right. I wouldn't totally say they didn't work. I just hope that people see that number matters. Like I said earlier, do you really think the senators will do what they did? The lawmakers will do what they did yesterday? And Tinubu will go and sign today. There will be no bill to sign. If you have more than 100,000 people that came out in Abuja alone. Because do you know what is 100,000? Baba, that's a lot. Oh. Have you been to the stadium before? And you are there when the game finishes. And people are going out from all entrances or exits from the stadium. Stadiums with just 25,000 spectators, 40,000 spectators. Have you seen the size of 40,000 people? Ever? Now think about 100,000. You don't even need millions. The senators won't leave the National Assembly. It will get so bad that they may have to lift all of them to rescue them out of that place. Take a look at what happened in Kenya. Did you see the number of people, the Gen Z in Kenya? That is the number of people that make things happen. It is not just I'm not discrediting those who are doing it, who have done so well. In fact, I have to give them their own flowers. But the reason why it feels like it is not effective is because it's a game of number. You need that number. Northern Nigeria that used to pull so much crowd. Remember when those ones protested against hunger in 2024? Do you know how many of them were killed? And do you know how many of them they had to lock up? Nearly 100 of them were locked up in Kuje prison. Have you forgotten? Children were locked up without food. Tinubu jailed children from Northern Nigeria. So it is the number. Number makes them act. And unfortunately, the number is not adding up in the case of Nigeria yet. Mama, Papi Yims, Abi Papa Yims. Hang on, no. So, Nadi Koko be that. Okay, that's not for me. That's conversation between you and Nade Williams. So, I've got Aro Tonspico. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry about that. So we are fighting a religious war. This is so sad. But some will say, no, it is not religious war. Did you see the people also killed in that another part of Nigeria today? I saw that briefly. I was like, oh, that's another one. Say Boko Haram lured the people into mosque and then they bombed them and they killed a lot of people today. But yeah. Or more. Anyway, I want to say thank you to every one of us. Let's call it a night. I'm going to see you tomorrow with comprehensive, evening like chat. So thanks so much. I had to do this quickly. Keep their algorithm reading busy. And let's hope it works out well. So I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening.